another TikTok phenomenon. This is a weird one. We've got a montage here put together showing how a new trend on TikTok. Remember how they were all sort of reading Osama bin Laden's letter to America, rationalizing the September 11th terror attacks, and they were all like reading from the same script, right? Saying, "Oh my God, this has blown my mind. Now I understand Osama bin Laden had a point." Well, they've written a new script for them all to read from. This one has people of TikTok reading the Quran and flirting with converting to Islam. And pay close attention to how they all say almost the exact same thing.
I started reading Quran.
I just started reading the Quran.
I've been reading the Quran, and I have a
Salam. Good morning.
And this is why so many people are starting to read the Quran.
So I ordered a Quran, and I just wanted to show you how heavy.
Okay, so I'm an ex-Christian reading the Quran.
Well, why is it, by the way, they all start with so? Is it just me? This is why I think it's all scripted. They're all saying the same thing, and even the so. Should we start the show that way from now on? When we do a social media video, when we do this show, we just start. Should I do that? So earlier today, Joe Biden made a fool of himself. So we've got some crazy video from the streets of New York. So Kamala Harris really likes Venn diagrams. I think we might do that every segment from now on. Let's see if it works. Seems to work for these people. Also, notice one other particular thing. Do you notice another consistency about all the people in this montage, or most of the people?
Today, I'm going to go through fighting war.
I started reading the Quran. This is the
We're on the Quran, and we're on Joseph.
So I have started already tonight a little bit.
It is my first time reading the Quran. I thought I would share my thoughts on the first.
This sentence from the Quran just answered a question I.
Okay, guys. So I got the Quran.
So
I got like a version that I.
So I'm an atheist who recently got a copy of the Clear Quran to start reading. I
just started reading the Quran, and I am so excited about it.
Okay, so I didn't do that on purpose, I promise. Did you notice that it's almost entirely 100%, except for like one or two exceptions, women, young women, young women? Boy, howdy, have they got some things to read in that Quran if they read it all. I hope they're reading the footnotes about how they're going to be treated. And most of them were women, except for this last one I'm sure you saw, which pretty sure that's a transgender individual. And I want to let you watch a little bit more of this person, because this probably confuses you. This whole idea is like, oh my gosh, what's with it? We've said it before, right? The whole LGBTQ for Hamas movement. Queers for Palestine. Thank you. It's like, dude, don't be queer in Palestine. It's not going to end well for you, right? So what's with this person who is clearly a transgender individual flirting with the idea of converting to Islam? Well, actually, I have a very good explanation for this, but let's watch the video first.
I just started reading the Quran, and I am so excited about it. People thought when I first asked that I just wanted to read it out of curiosity, but I want to read it to study it. I started following somebody on social media that teaches the Quran and hosts a Quran book club for Muslims and non-Muslims, so I'm really excited to start going to that. She was describing the chapter of the bee, and that just blew my mind. Like, the way that she describes things, the way that the Quran describes things actually makes sense to me. And also, did you know that Allah is beyond gender? Did you know that actually scholars believe that there are two Qurans, the Quran of nature and the Quran, the actual book? And did you know that each chapter is named after a natural phenomenon? I don't know. This whole book is just blowing my mind, and I am so excited. I got sticky notes so that I could mark out things that I was drawn to. And I'm not even through the first chapter, and I already have a bunch of sticky notes. I'm definitely going to have to buy more tabs. I'm honestly having a whole revolution with myself, where the way that I describe the universe and the things that I believe in are actually described in the Quran of believing in Allah. And I've never thought that I believed in God before, and now I'm really having a revolution of self of, I think I actually believe in God. If you've been curious, I really recommend it. There are a lot of people who are converting. There's a lot of people who are reading it. I'm not saying I'm going to convert. I'm not saying that I wouldn't. And I don't know. I know that this is exactly what I need right now. I just wanted to say thank you and just point out how excited I am.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there, isn't there? I know what you're thinking. This transgender individual goes to the Middle East, converts to Islam, and they're going to have their head chopped off, right? What's this all about? Well, I did a little research for you, and you're going to be surprised. This is the website for the Human Rights Campaign. Oh, no, it's not. This is the website for the Human Rights Campaign, which is an activist group here in Washington, D.C., pushing LGBTQ issues. And they explore what it's like to be gay, bisexual, or transgender in an Islamic country. And get this. Transgender men and women are recognized and accepted in many Islamic cultures around the world. In fact, the idea of a man or woman identifying as a member of the opposite gender is more likely to be accepted than that of a man or woman expressing sexual desire for someone of their own gender. Read on. As early as 1988, gender reassignment surgery was declared acceptable under Islamic law by scholars at Egypt's Al-Azhar, the world's oldest Islamic university. In Iran in 1987, Ayatollah Khomeini, you'll remember him. He's the guy that took American hostages. Ayatollah Khomeini declared transgender surgical operations allowable. What is that all about? Well, in the incredibly enlightened and tolerant Islamic-run countries, apparently, it's better to surgically alter your body and identify as the opposite sex than which you were born than it is to be gay. In other words, there's a lot of transgender people in countries like Iran or Saudi Arabia or other Sharia law countries, because if they stayed gay, they'd be killed. But if they become transgender, then it's okay. I mean, they're shunned, they're treated poorly, but they're not murdered. So it actually makes a little bit more sense than you'd expect. This also brings up a very interesting story highlighted in City Journal, and it comes out of New England, where the Fenway Community Health Center in Boston, one of the largest providers of transgender medicine in New England, is being sued by a gay man who was convinced by the doctors there to take a chemical altering, body altering, hormone altering transgender drugs. This was a gay man who was struggling with his sexual identity and wasn't quite sure about all of these feelings that he was having and same-sex attraction. And he was convinced by the doctors there that what was really going on was that he was a woman. In the lawsuit, he refers to this as gay conversion practices and a violation of his civil rights. In other words, right now, there's a huge movement right now for people who are feeling same-sex attraction, whether they're a gay man or a lesbian woman, to actually convince them what they're really feeling is gender dysphoria. And the real issue here is not that you're a gay man or a lesbian woman. The real issue is that God put you in the wrong body. So let's prescribe drugs and hormones and suggest that you get forever permanent surgical alteration to your body, sexual genital mutilation of perfectly healthy organs, lopped off or completely altered, so that you could identify as the opposite sex than what you were born, because God forbid you be a gay man or a lesbian woman. And by the way, this is what goes as enlightened progressive thought today in America. We're seeing some pretty interesting changes in the way we're supposed to address people who are gay and lesbian. And apparently we're jumping right on board with Sharia law countries like Iran.